Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video and yet again another reaction. In this video we're reacting to the FBI interrogation techniques you can actually use. Again, I think this was recommended by one of you guys, as so is the other videos that we're doing recently. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. Before we get into the video, I have to quickly state that I do now have a Discord channel. The link is in the description down below, so if you'd like to join it, just to join the community and help build it up. We are talking on there now and then. There's not a lot of people in it at the moment, so I'm sure if there's more people get in it, it will become a bit more popular. And also, if you want me to react to any videos, you can post it in the Discord, as I will definitely not miss it. And there's also some other channels in there that you can do different things. I will be doing videos in it with you guys at another date later on. So yeah, be sure to check it out. It is in the description down below. And again, if you'd like to see this video, it is in the description down below. But without further ado, let's get in it with this reaction.
The FBI is the United States' premier law enforcement agency and has responsibilities that range from counterterrorism to drug interdiction and investigating financial crimes. With such a broad range of responsibilities, it's only natural that FBI agents are going to come across a wide variety of suspects, and this makes FBI interrogators some of the most skilled in the world.
Well, they have to know so many different things, don't they? They have to know how to spot things, know things, different techniques, as we will be seeing in this video. Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's like a police officer, but like a detective, but then more than that as well. It's like those two combined and more. So yeah, definitely an important role and an important job within the country.
Today we're going to teach you some basic interrogation techniques used by the FBI and other agencies.
Yeah, let's see if we can actually do any of these. They say you can actually use them, but are they actually practical? Can you actually use them? Or do you need to actually learn and practice them to be able to practice them?
That you can use in everyday life to get to the truth of the matter, or perhaps figure out when someone is lying to you or not. First though, it's important to note that there's a difference between an interrogation and an interview. An interview is typically a fact-finding mission, while an interrogation is much more focused. In an interview, the interrogator is typically not fully aware of most of the elements of a crime, and is seeking more general information about the events that took place.
Fair enough.
Interviews are commonly undertaken with witnesses, though sometimes suspects can be interviewed as well. And based off information gleaned, an interview can later turn into a full-blown interrogation. An interrogation, on the other hand, is a quest for specific information or an attempt to gain a confession. In an interrogation, the person conducting the proceeding is typically aware of most facts of a case or an incident, and is simply seeking specific key pieces that may still be missing. An interrogation can also serve to force a suspect into admitting that they lied in a previous interview, or to encourage them to divulge facts they're reluctant to. Finally, an interrogator may be perfectly aware of all the facts of a case and simply use an interrogation to gain a confession. Despite what you think, the FBI does not endorse overly aggressive interrogations, and instead it's
I bet they do. I bet they do.
department policy that establishing a rapport with an individual is far more productive to fact gathering than intimidation, misdirection, or threats.
It is, but also if these don't work, I bet they do use force.
In the early 2000s, when the Abu Ghraib prison scandal broke out, and the world learned that the CIA and US military had been beating prisoners to gain information, the United States Inspector General announced that the FBI had always conducted itself according to department guidelines. In fact, many FBI interrogators flat out refused to take part in interrogations that used, as the CIA and military put it, enhanced interrogation techniques, and walked out of interrogations, then reported the individuals to their superiors. This integrity from the FBI is what helped bring the scandal to light and put a stop to the abuses by military and CIA personnel. So how can you better get the truth in your own life? What techniques can you learn and apply to use day to day? First, a former FBI agent and interrogator warns you.
I've always loved sci-fi.
I know you have.
And the idea of being right on
that you should always be aware of as many of the facts of what you're seeking information on as possible. If a suspect believes that the interrogator is grasping at straws or not fully aware of events, then the tone of the interrogation dramatically changes. This might encourage a suspect to be deceitful or embolden them to withhold facts. So let's say that you're interrogating your co-worker Kelly because your food has gone missing from the refrigerator and you suspect it was her. First, make sure you're as well informed as you can possibly be before you start your interrogation. This means gathering intelligence on Kelly. What does she typically eat? What does she like to eat? When does she typically eat? Are there witnesses that can...
Who cares?
perhaps let you know if she was at her desk or not around the time your lunch went missing. More mundane details are important.
Yeah, but aren't those things that you would think anyway? Or is that just me being weird? Because you don't want to blame someone for no reason.
As well, such as the general state of the refrigerator when the sandwich went missing, how many other people brought food, how many ordered in. Basically, the more facts you're aware of, the better. When most people are confronted in a situation where their interrogator is obviously well informed, it can act as an intimidating force, making them feel that deceitfulness will not work on you. Also, the more obviously well informed you are, the more the suspect will realize that you're willing to sit down for an extensive discussion, and that might make them feel like it would just be better to give up the goods early. You've probably seen
Yeah, but you're going to get a warning at work, aren't you? She's just taken your food, and you've sat down to interrogate her. The boss has got more reason to fire you than her. So don't use that technique.
shows on TV when the investigator will lay out a
If you want to think about those things, and politely ask her, don't interrogate.
cunning trap for a suspect, they're sure committed a crime. Typically, the detective will lie about evidence they possess, making the suspect fear that he's about to be discovered and might as well give himself or herself up. While there are some instances where lying is allowed for police interrogators, it's not recommended that you do so. Your lie may work, but if it doesn't and the suspect realizes you're lying, it can backfire in a major way. Once you've lied to a suspect and they've realized it, they'll become convinced that they can't trust you and clam up. They could also assume that any plea deals or offers of amnesty are also lies, and you effectively take away any leverage you might have over them. You know Kelly took that sandwich. You can see the crumbs on the corner of her mouth and smell the chicken parmesan on her breath. But if you lie to her and tell her that you have security camera footage of the deed, she might realize you're full of it. In that case, your interrogation is over and Kelly is walking away a free woman, or a woman that doesn't owe you a sandwich, since we're pretty sure sandwich theft isn't a criminal offense. Rather than trying to trick or intimidate a suspect, former FBI interrogators state that you should build a rapport with the suspect instead. If the suspect learns that they can trust you, or at least respect you, they might be more prone to sharing information they wouldn't with anyone else.
Injury lawyers for you. Alright, come on, let's skip. He's gonna crash.
Also, in a criminal system, a suspect that has a good rapport with the interrogator may believe that the interrogator will later tell the prosecutor that they were helpful, and thus reduce their criminal penalty. You want to slam a book down on the table, maybe toss a chair or two. It's time for good cop, bad cop, because now Kelly burped and you could practically taste the chicken parm yourself. Yet she won't admit it. She steadfastly refuses to take the blame for the missing sandwich. So rein in your anger and center yourself. Be courteous, ask her about her typical lunch, share some of the same interests that you have together as far as food is concerned. You'll be working to drop Kelly's guard, and at the same time she'll be thinking that if you're this nice to her now, maybe you'll put in a good word with the boss when it comes time to punishing the person responsible for chicken parm theft. Now it's time to turn up the heat. It's time for the Reed technique. Developed by a professional consultant and polygraph expert named John E. Reed, the Reed technique is one of the most widely adopted interrogation techniques across the world. The first step is to confront the suspect with the facts, as well as the evidence against them. Tell Kelly that your sandwich went missing, and that during the 15 minutes that it went missing, she was not at her desk according to her fellow co-workers. Further, let her know that you're aware of the fact that last Friday she ordered chicken parm from Grubhub. Be confident, and start letting Kelly know that you know she was involved in the theft. Her stress levels will begin to rise, and if she's being deceitful, you should be on the lookout for fidgeting, licking of lips, or touching of hair. These are all signs that Kelly ate your damn chicken parm and is lying to you about it. The next step is called theme development, and here is where you'll weave a story about why Kelly committed the crime that she did. You'll retell the criminal act, but with Kelly as the main character. You should speak to her in a soft, soothing voice, appearing non-threatening and lulling Kelly into a false sense of security. Be aware of how she reacts to your theme as you lay it out, and if it becomes clear that she isn't responding at all, change the story up and try again. This will make up the bulk of your interrogation, and you'll be using other techniques to reinforce this step. Kelly forgot.
It's definitely interesting, but I think the whole scenario is a bit odd. Like, you could use a different situation that this would be better on, I believe.
Got her lunch that day, so she figured, well, I'll just order something on my phone again. Then lunchtime came, though, and Kelly realized that she has T-Mobile as a cell provider, and that means she doesn't have service anywhere, ever. Oh no, Kelly thought. What am I gonna do for lunch now? That's when she went to the employee refrigerator, opening it up and hoping that perhaps there was a stray cup of yogurt somewhere someone never ate. Perhaps something close to expiration date, left alone and forgotten. Nobody would miss that lonely cup of yogurt, but that's when she saw it, your delicious chicken parmesan on sourdough bread. Next to the refrigerator, the microwave, and down the hall an unused storage closet, the perfect place to hide and enjoy an ill-gotten chicken parmesan sandwich. Kelly could practically taste the melting cheese. It was either this or eat nothing at all, and her stomach was rumbling. She's not a bad person, she just had a small breakfast is all. See what we did there? We created a theme that was sympathetic to Kelly's plight, recreated events from a point of view that didn't treat Kelly like the dirty, rotten criminal that she actually is. We excused her for the theft, appealed to her sense of helplessness in the situation. Let her
Who was going to go this far to find out who ate their sandwich?
believed that we understood and were sympathetic to the theft. Throughout your building of the theme, though, you'll have to stop Kelly's denials on the spot. Once a suspect is allowed to voice a denial, it increases their confidence. Every time Kelly tries to object and voice a denial, simply cut her off and let her know that it'll be her turn to talk in a minute. Don't let her start to voice denials.
I know loads of people that just wouldn't work on. Just wouldn't at all work on. Because soon as they speak and you like stop them, oh, you're going to get told off. It doesn't even matter who they are. They're going to shout at you. They're going to get angry at you. Some people do not like to be told to be quiet. And they get very aggressive very quickly. And it's right. Just don't put yourself in that situation.
Or she'll become emboldened and immune to your tactics. Be polite, but very firm. Next, you'll have to be ready to overcome objections, which differ from denials. Denials are basically just a brief, I didn't do it statement. Objections, however, offer logic-based reasons for why the suspect simply couldn't have committed the crime. Kelly might say, I could never have stolen your sandwich. My father died of starvation because someone stole his sandwich. It's your job to use the information she gives you and turn it around on her. You can, for instance, reply with, I understand that you could never plan to do something so awful after what happened to your father. It was just a one-time mistake. You were hungry and out of control. I understand. You should turn objections into admissions of guilt. At this point, Kelly is
learning how to manipulate people, pretty much, is what this is.
frustrated. She's literally marinating in her own guilt. It's your job to vent some of that pressure and earn more of her trust. This whole time, you should have been either across the table from Kelly or walking around the room, towering over her. That makes her feel smaller and vulnerable. But now you're going to sit down on her side of the table, lower yourself to her level and draw close. Put a hand on her shoulder, offer physical gestures of concern. Now it's time to get your confession. It's time to build alternatives. At this stage, you offer two different motives for the crime. One should be more reasonable, so as to nudge the suspect along, while the other should be more morally repugnant. This will help the suspect agree to the more reasonable motivation and lead to confession. It doesn't matter if this motivation is real or not. All that matters is the almighty confession. Tell Kelly that perhaps she stole the sandwich because she just couldn't resist the temptation. Heck, you couldn't resist the temptation of that Snickers bar you ate last night even though you're supposed to be dieting. This motive is understandable. It's relatable. It's something that a rational, reasonable person could excuse. It's just a mistake, that's all. Then tell Kelly that perhaps she stole the sandwich because it was her that stole her father's sandwich, which led to his death by starvation. Perhaps Kelly loves to starve people to death, one sandwich at a time, and she thought that she could get away with it again today. This motive is outrageous and morally repugnant, likely causing Kelly to object loudly to it. That's good. That's what you want her to do, because you're going to backtrack and lead her down the road of the first motive. I know, you're not a sandwich killer, Kelly. I've known you for months now. You seem like such a nice person. You were just hungry.
This is so manipulative. This is insane. Why are they using this situation? Then they're using this situation because it's more relatable to people that work in offices and people who work in those type of environments. And I don't think that's quite right, because now they're making it seem as if you can just do this in your everyday. They should have used a situation that only like the police can get involved with, just a petty theft, like a small crime, and use that situation, because then it's showing you how the police would react, not how you can now react. I know it's how you can actually use, but like if you see the police do it, it makes you like think to yourself, okay, I could use that in that scenario to see if they're stolen something, or if I can use that in a scenario where they could be hiding something, not in a scenario where someone stole my sandwich, and I'm going to make them tell me, pretty much. I'm going to make the truth come out of them. It doesn't matter what way. You know, your dad died by starvation. Chuck that at them, and then just completely flip it and be like, well, I know you're not a killer, but, you know, maybe you just couldn't resist it. You know, this so twisted. But I guess it does work. But again, I don't like the scenario they've used. I think they could have used a better one that doesn't encourage people to use this, if you know what I mean.
It was a mistake, I understand. At this point, Kelly's probably in tears, and more than ready to confess.
Yeah, you're just emotionally making this woman distraught and a bit broken. And honestly, you could probably get fired for that.
Congratulations, because you've just used FBI interrogation techniques to get your coworker to confess to stealing your sandwich. And it's a good thing that you have a solid grasp on these techniques, because everything you just did to your coworker is basically one giant super fireable.
Plus, this whole scenario has taken ages to like do this whole conversation. If you're at work, it will literally be, did you take my sandwich? No. She's gonna walk off and go do her job. You don't have this amount of time to sit and talk. Again, I don't really like this scenario. I don't think it's very, I don't know.
Offense, and you're gonna need a new job after you get canned. Think you could use these techniques in your
Well, there we go. That is the end of that video. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and a comment down below. If you do enjoy my type of content, it would be much appreciated if you could hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell, as I do upload every single day, and it will allow you to know exactly when I upload, like, you know, the time and all that jazz. If you would like to join the Discord, again, that is in the description down below, as well as the original video, if you'd like to check that out. And yeah, hope you're having a great and splendid day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.